congratulations on building the sexiest motorcycle of pretty much of all time.
Oh, thank you.
The Tron light cycle is very, very cool. And can you talk a little bit about what it's like to work on an iteration of Sid's original vision? What was that like for you?
Oh, so you mentioned Sid, so you're well informed. He lives here in Pasadena, so his vibe and spirit was all over the art department, including Mobius's too. The fact that he's also a personal friend created actually some pressure on the whole design process. So we took his iconic bike from the first film and redesigned it very subtly because the surfacing of it actually did not fit in a very high resolution 3D film of today. So that's why we gave it a little retouch. And even the new ones have a little inspiration of the original art because they came up with that concept, but they could not render it back then. The computers did not hold up.
Is that the fully integrated, where the
characters
were integrated?
You see him exposed and you see the arms and legs. I mean, it's a pretty obvious choice, but the fact that he really blends into the whole surface of it. So it's a pretty old idea, but we finally were able now to make that happen.
Very cool. And do you think such a bike could exist in the real world?
You
can't obviously be integrated into it, but the style and design.
Well, the rider position, we draw that actually from like salt flat speed racing. Like if you would go to Bonneville, all those speed bikes have this rider position, which is pretty much designed also only to go on a straight line. So banking and turning a bike like that is a little challenge. But in most of the parts, we kind of used a mix of like mechanical reality and physical fantasy somehow. So I think you can make this work. We even designed on the bottom of the fairing that cover the wheels, there are two flaps on the bottom that would move to the side when the bike banks over. So we really thought about all those things, especially to please the fans, like, you know, to find out about all those little things.
Very cool. And then I noticed that the light streams were liquid. Was that your
yes. No, it was not my idea. We are a big team. We're up to 20 artists. We work hand in hand, sometimes even sharing a desk. It's like really condensed. The beauty of the liquid feel of it is that we wanted to add as much texture and interest in the film because we are so simplistic with everything, you know. Even the vehicles and the backgrounds, everything is very subtle and quiet. So the light walls were a good item on the film where you can establish some surface interest.
And was it your favorite vehicle to create, or were there other ones that you really like to work on?
I always thought about a good answer for that. I still don't have it. I think it's like picking your favorite child, you know. If you have like 5 kids, you don't dare to pick one. I'm very happy with the light cycle because it comes together in the end, and it looked amazing on screen. And once it's done, and that counts for every vehicle, you almost forget how much could have gone wrong. Because you have so many ideas in the beginning, and just to narrow that down in this short time. So I think we're all happy with that. But trust me, there's so many background vehicles, like a tank or a tanker or a limo, where I think like, oh, maybe this is my favorite, but I shouldn't talk about it.
Thanks you very much for bringing Tron back. It's very, very cool. I have a question from one of our fans who wants to know about, in the original Tron, there was the solar sail going over the Mickey Mouse. And I was wondering if you guys hid any Mickey Mice in the movie, and if you could talk about that.
No, we can't.
You cannot.
Next question.
So they've got to figure that out on their own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about working with Daft Punk? So I love that. That was fantastic. How much influence did they have over the film?
I mean, you've seen it. Their music was amazing. When we shot it, Joe had a lot of the tracks on his laptop ready, and they're done. And so there's a great sequence in the Line Club, and we would literally have these large speakers on set, and every take Joe would play the same track that's ultimately in the film really loud, and it really helped get the crew and the extras in the mood for the sequence. But you got a sense then, and I got to meet the guys and hang out with them on set, that you know, it was really something special that they were doing with the music, because they were so into it, and you could tell by, you know, just hearing it on set.
And creating young Jeff Bridges was a huge challenge, I'm sure.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, we had access to Jeff to capture a lot of information off of him, how his face moves, you know, the structure of his face. We did a cast of his head, so we had a great starting point on what he looked like, and then sort of youthing that in the computer. Then Jeff would perform on set a whole scene wearing a helmet with 4 cameras on it, so we could record the motion of his face. And then the body double, John Reardon, would study those takes and then act out each shot individually when they did principal photography. And then in the computer later, we would analyze the dots that we had captured off of Jeff's face to get what the performance was, what muscles were activated when. And then we would take the final plates of John Reardon and cut his head off in that shot and put in the digital Jeff Bridges head on his body. So unfortunately, John Reardon, you never see his face in the movie, but you see his body all over the place.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Would you say that was the biggest technical challenge you had?
Yeah.
Yeah,
By
by
far?
far. Yeah, trying to replace someone's head precisely from 2 cameras that are strapped together in a mechanical rib and put it on a 50-foot screen and kind of hold that illusion is pretty challenging. It kept us up a lot of late nights and a lot of weekends. And
So who did you consult with to get the tech aspects of the movie correct? Because that's one thing I was very impressed with as a Unix nerd, that the Unix stuff was actually real. So I was looking at that, and I was really
You're talking
impressed
about
with that.
the
the history.
Yeah, when the son is actually launching the previous command of his father, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's really cool.
well, I mean,
Normally movies get it wrong. You know?
yeah, we got to give him some things to use there, and I think you know, we use Unix, so it's not unusual
But
for us.
Joe's pretty technically savvy too, so he's,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's very cool. So I want to try to help make this one of the highest grossing films of all time. So
How many times
for
you
the
gonna see it?
TechCrunch readers, I'm going to watch it many, many times. I've already seen it once. I'm going to see it again and again and again. What, do you have anything that you would like to tell the TechCrunch readers about what they're going to see, especially if they've never seen Tron, the first one ever?
Well, I don't think they need to, first of all, to enjoy this film. I think this film stands on its own, and there's enough of the story there that you'll understand pretty quickly. I think I hope they go and enjoy an immersive world that maybe they've never seen before.
Just get lost in the world. Don't try and analyze it, or you know, just enjoy.
Great. So the first one was the original Tron spurred what eventually became Pixar. I guess it's John Lasseter, is that how you say his name? Lasseter. And rumor has it that he got to eyeball the movie. If so, what was his reaction?
They were great. We, at a certain point, when the movie was in a rougher form, we showed it to a number of filmmakers we respected just to get their thoughts. We were going to go off and do some more work. Pixar, the creative brain trust up at Pixar, was one of those groups. And they gave us some really good ideas. As did some other filmmakers down here in LA. So I think the Pixar screening was a real success on all sides.
Awesome. And a personal question, how do we make this the highest grossing film of all time?
Hopefully your 4 million folks will go again and again and again.
Okay. We're going to try to get our readers to pledge to see it at least 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
So another question was there any debate about the placement of the Mickey Mouse image? So in the original Tron, you know, there's the solar sail that goes over and there's a gigantic Mickey. Are there any hidden Mickeys in this movie?
Well, that was one thing I left up to my visual effects crew. They told me they wanted to try to hide something in there, so now they've challenged me to find the hidden Mickey in the film as well. So I'll be looking for it just like everyone else.